Now, Sag, this was surprising to me. It kind of made sense, but at the same time, when we're looking at Jupiter going back home, I would have expected something, bigger, like bigger and better. But I think that a lot of you are going to be going back and focusing on your partnerships and your relationships in a way where there needs to be healing. So it's not to diminish this for some of you who are dealing with this right now. But, I would have hoped that instead of going backward, a lot of you guys would be full force straight ahead. So the sacred union, partnership and romance, and this did show up as a challenge. And then you have mending. So straight up, it's going to be the mending of a relationship that is not going very well for some of you. If you have dealt with a breakup, this is like forgiving and releasing and setting yourself free, especially if it's something that you've been hanging on to for a while. Now, the other part of this, though, I think that, for those of you who are wanting a partnership, but you don't ever seem to find the right partnership, it's definitely because of something that you're hanging on to. Now, the sacred union. This one also talks about you not paying attention to the red flags, choosing, a partner or a love situation here based on obsession. But, we're also talking about possibly being led on. But again, because we're looking at mending, I think that for a lot of you, it's going to be about healing after a breakup or healing after arguments within a relationship, but needing to mend things, but more so, I think, for you. Now for some of you, yeah, it may be that you need to take responsibility for your part in a partnership not going very well. And it may be that, you need to make amends to a person possibly. And that does kind of show up here when we look at moonology for you guys. So you pulled, and this was interesting, the waning moon. What do you need to release? It says it's safe to let go and move on. It says move forward with as little resistance as possible. This is not the time to start new projects. It says releasing emotional baggage is recommended now, and say sorry to someone, which I thought was interesting, especially with mending showing up. But it also says do energetic work such as meditation and yoga, Jupiter going home. And then it says soon you will see what lies ahead. So clearly there's something that you're going to need to release in order to get to that mending, that forgiveness. All right, Sag. Here's your overall. I knew there was a reason why I was hesitating on that. The devil being the overall. Now, absolutely, we could be talking about you getting past unhealthy things in your life, negativity, anything that you've been chaining yourself to that is not good for you. And again, releasing something, for things to be better for you. Oh boy. Now, for some of you with the devil being the overall, yeah, we could be talking about you being a little bit focused on, or a little bit too focused on temptation here, but we'll see. Oh boy. All right. The King of Cups as the past. So this could be about a person coming through. We could be talking about male, female, water. Now, for some of you, you are a little bit too emotionally open, I think, to something that is not healthy. That, or we're talking about you in the past trying to get control over these emotions and separate yourself from something negative or someone. In the present, the Fool, you guys are worrying me here a little bit. Now, with the devil being the overall, though, absolutely the Fool can be suggesting that, you're taking a new path here, that you're not going to allow this to come back into your life, but you may be forced to kind of like deal with it. Now, absolutely, we could be talking about you dealing with the negative aspects of another person. So they're not necessarily yours, other than the fact that you are dealing with this person when you may not have to. Right? So it may not necessarily be your, negative habits, things like that, or addictions, whatever, all the unhealthy things with the devil. But I look at the Fool and I worry a little bit that some of you are, getting involved with somebody who clearly has not dealt with these things. And that what you're following here is just a temptation. But then I also think that maybe for some of you here, you're not willing to take a risk, but we'll see. Oh my God, Sag, look at it. Oh, the Queen of Cups in future conditions. Hell yeah. So with the Queen of Cups and looking at the Devil, and this is something that I've talked about before when it comes to addictions and obsessions and getting caught up into, temptation. Water signs, yeah. But the King and the Queen of Cups, as far as tarot, absolutely. Now, you could be dealing with somebody here who is emotionally manipulative, possible. And I say that because of the Devil still being your overall. Now, for some of you with the Queen of Cups, the other thing that I talk about is she gets more caught up in what is going on with other people, where she can easily be taken advantage of, which can be, the case here, especially for those of you who are, internalizing the Queen of Cups here. But I look at this and I think that some of you may be caught up in a relationship that is not very good, whether that's your own bad habits or if it's somebody else's. But the Fool between the two of you, and again, it doesn't matter to me whether this is male, male, female, female, male, female, it doesn't matter. You both are like meeting each other with this same type of, element and feeling. And then you have the Fool right in the middle between the two of you. And it's like, I can't help myself when it comes to this person. That's what I'm feeling. Your best path to follow, the Ace of Swords. So we need the truth. We need truth and we need clarity. Some of you are going to be in a place where you're going to have to face the truth when it comes to the Devil, the negativity surrounding a relationship. Oh, some of you, it's going to be absolutely, I need the truth. And for others, it's you need to speak it, right? The truth will set you free. My mother always told me that. But maybe now it's time to face the truth about this situation, about a relationship, about a partnership, something that you know is not healthy. Oh, buddy. All right. In your environment, Justice with the Fool. And the thing that I'm getting from this more so than anything, for those of you who are dealing with a person here where you may feel like you were taken advantage of, I look at this as you need to make amends. I think that, you're looking at somebody who has probably done you wrong on an emotional level. And I have to wonder if, they're trying to come through and they're trying to make amends. But I also think unfair situation, unbalanced, not fair for you. But when you're looking at it as far as the Fool, I can't help myself when it comes to this person. But maybe you need to face the truth that this is not going to create any more balance in your life. Or maybe they're not going to correct the wrongs that they may have done. Because we're still looking at the Devil as the overall. But taking responsibility too, again, right? I don't know. Now, some of you, absolutely, you may be in a place right now where it's like, okay, so if this person comes through and they try to communicate to you in a way where they're like, I'm sorry for where things went wrong, you may be wanting to go ahead and have faith in that. But I worry because of the Devil being the overall, unless, there's going to be truth and clarity over the negativity that's in between the two of you. But I also feel this, I can't help it. Wow, Sag, the hell. Your hopes and your fears, the Six of Pentacles, and again, fairness and balance, right? But I look at that and think you don't want to get caught in a one-sided situation. I mean, just straight up, right? Fairness and balance, equal give and take here. So for some of you, you may be fearing that if I give to this situation, am I going to get anything out of this? Or am I just going to be giving to something that is not going to bring me any kind of satisfaction? It may be temporary with the Devil, but then if we're talking about fairness and balance, I mean, clearly that's not something that some of you want. Now, you could definitely be dealing with a person here who is trying to get you to have faith in them. I feel a little bit of manipulation maybe. And that may be because they want something from you. But I would need more. I would need more on that. So the Six of Pentacles for me, just straight up for now, we'll see what the clarifiers say is going to be, is it worth giving to? Are you receiving what you truly want out of this? Or are you going to be taken advantage of? Oh, this is what I'm talking about. That the Empress coming out, and then you have the Devil, and then you have the Queen of Cups. This, especially if you're female, okay, this is definitely going to be you being a little bit too caring, a little bit too loving, a little bit too giving. Now, for some of you, right, with the Empress coming out, it may be that, you know, you don't want to let this back in because you don't want, you know, your comfort, your stability, the beauty and abundance that's around you to be compromised, so to speak. But there is an unhealthy attachment here, and I don't think that you can help yourself, or someone else can't help themselves. And I think that there is a part of you that, you know, may feel like, I can take care of you, I can fix you. And you may be a little bit too giving of yourself. But again, right, somebody who needs you to give them something. And then the Ten of Pentacles. Caution is what I want to say here. Be careful. The King of Wands. Looking at that with the King of Cups, and then looking at the Devil as the overall, if we're talking about how this person was in the past, they may have been very selfish or self-centered. Now, if we're looking at this in terms of you, especially if you're a male, it may be the other way around here, where you're being emotionally manipulated by, you know, someone else here that needs you to give them something, and they know that, you know, you're too willing to. But it's because it's something about them that you can't help yourself. But I look at the King of Wands, and I think that there is a part of you that, you know, may feel like you have had to pick yourself up after having dealt with this person, but they're not done with you, if that makes sense. It's like it's coming back around for you. You know, but I do think that for those of you who are looking at someone in particular, this to me looks like it's the same person, because I have nothing here indicating that we're talking about two different people. So now after that, you have the Star, the Fool, and Justice. If there is an attempt to make amends for the negativity that has been created between you and a person, whether this is romantic or not, the Star would make sense that there's hope being restored, that there is, you know, this belief that things can be healed. But that really depends on whether or not you're going to have faith in this. But what I worry about here, and this is where I say caution, because we're still looking at the Devil as the overall, you have to be careful on, you know, what you are giving of yourself, right? Like you, I feel like, are coming from a place of, I can create stability for you. I can fix this for you. Let me help you. Let me be there for you. But are you being taken advantage of? And how is that going to affect overall security and stability? So with the Ten of Pentacles coming out, you know, with the Star, right? It may look like this is a situation that is moving into a better place, but that's all based on whether or not there is truth and clarity in what this person's intentions are, what it is that they're actually wanting from you. Are they looking for you to help heal them, fix them, create stability for them? You know, that may be the case here, but like I said, I would just caution with the Devil, because the overwhelming feeling is I can't help myself when it comes to them. But with Justice and looking at the Star and looking back at mending and you being told to release and let go, is it possible that we're getting past this now? The problem is we're still having to deal with that. Some of you are still going to have to deal with that involving a person. And I do think for some of you, yeah, it's going to be an emotional romantic relationship. And I say that because of the Cups. Now, on the other hand, for some of you, absolutely could just be a friend, a family member. It just depends. But can you continue to give? Or is it their turn now to, you know, create this fairness and balance? Okay. All right. For some of you, straight up, this is going to be a situation that you need to break free from. Okay, and I look at play and I look at the Devil, and I think that this may have been a very constricting relationship for some of you. So maybe now it's time for you to start enjoying your life and break yourself free from that. And then when you look at the solar plexus, you're talking about your sense of self, your identity, right? And again, there's that feeling of I needed to pick myself back up after having dealt with this. And there may be a part of you that's coming into this being a little bit emotionally distant. You know, if we're talking about what you're projecting outward, but what you're internalizing in future conditions is love and the ability to create healing. But that's because of your caring, giving in nature. And because for some of you, I'm telling you, it's I can't help myself. But clearly this is saying that in order for you to, you know, get rid of this negativity, to get rid of this constraining feeling, you need to break free in order to enjoy life and to feel better about yourself and your sense of direction. The heart of the matter, there is more going on than meets the eye. Recognize what this is all about. So there may be more going on here that you are not seeing, which is possible. But I look at love is all around you, as just because this is one person in particular here for some of you that has caused a lot of negativity, or it's been a very negative relationship, it doesn't mean that it is the only love, right? There is love everywhere for you. You just have to look. But there is definitely more going on here than what you are seeing. And I would just caution. I would caution what you are willing to give to try to help somebody else out, because I feel like they need you. They need you to give them something that they can't give themselves. But what I would say here is it your responsibility? Do you feel like it's your responsibility to create healing if they're not willing to give you the same?